Galka Guy 88 back at you from the Boilercade, and I have done it. I have purchased an Atgames 4KP. If you have been following my channel, you know that I went to Chicago about a week and a half ago, and this was there. Once I saw it, I got to play on it for a little bit. I couldn't help myself. I had to purchase one. So I wanted to give you a brief review of my thoughts on the pros, the cons, and just an overall review of the product itself. So stay tuned.
Pushing buttons, racing to the top. Got a guy 88, never gonna stop. Burger time, babe, flipping scores like coins.
All right, now let's take a look at this machine right from the get-go. It is something that really pops and gets you in the zone to want to play some pinball. We have that Peanuts, Snoopy that pops up there. The whole gang comes out. Football from Lucy is out of there. We have the Peanuts on the back box and Snoopy at the top. Take a little rest. We have the Peanuts gang on the side, looking nice and crisp. I love the way this looks and really pops. Want to make sure I got a close-up of that topper, as well as the back box. You have Charlie Brown and Snoopy next to the Peanuts Snoopy pinball. And then two of these speakers. Real briefly, I have them here for you. They look sweet. And then to the front of this, you have your light-up coin door here. And we're going to take that plastic off. Looks like I'm number 373 out of 5,000. Don't know if they made any more of these, but I am so glad that I got one. This is awesome. Firstly, let's talk about the height of this thing. It is very tall. In fact, if I move my camera here, you can see it's actually above the boiler room pipes and almost touching the rafters in the Boilercade here. It is very tall. I almost thought for a minute there I could not fit it in the Boilercade. And we're going to get a measurement to see how close it is to the ceiling and what it is in total. All right, so let's get this from the top of the rafters in my boiler room. It is approximately, like 1 and is that 5/8? Somewhere around in there from the top, and this is the shorter end of this too. This side is actually a little bit taller here. So that's how close I was to not being able to fit this in the boiler room. That's about how close I was. It is very tall. And as you can see, my beam here is a little bit above 77 inches. So yes, that was very close to not reaching and being a part of the Boilercade. The width of the back box here is about 23 and 3/8 according to what I'm seeing here. That's what it is width-wise here. And then also too, the table itself looks to be about 19 inches wide. So very big. Let's see about how long this is. So it's saying about says about 40 3/4, so another inch maybe for that plunger there. Okay, now let's measure here. See how tall this is from the bottom. That's also about 35 inches. Yeah, about 35 inches. I do have these. They're pretty much almost to the ground too, because that's kind of where I liked them. Since I do have the Legends pinball here, I thought it'd be good to compare some of the sizes when it comes to that. So let's go ahead and do some measurements and see how they add up compared to the 4K. So across the top here, see, yep, we're still at that 19 inches it looks like, according to that. Now let's go ahead and compare the back box here. See how much different it is. So this is only about 20.5 inches according to my measuring tape. So obviously a lot smaller than the new one here. Let's compare the length. So as you can see here, it looks like it's about 40 and a little before 41 with the plunger, about 42 inches comparatively. So they're almost the same length, honestly, as far as the base here. And then now, let's get the from the ground. Now, I do have mine extended as far as it can go on this, and it looks like it is at about 35 inches, maybe 35 and a fourth is what it is. And I did get those bigger legs for mine too put on here. I think I forget exactly what they were called. And then we can get the height of the actual machine somehow. Give me 1 second. So as you can see here, as far as the height goes, it is about 62 and let me see, 3/8. Is that what that is? Yeah, 62 and 3/8 from where I'm able to measure at from here. So obviously, let me see, 62. I think that one over there was, what, 76? So about 15 inches taller. Holy moly, that thing is tall. One thing to keep in mind too whenever I'm doing these comparative measurements is that I did change the legs out on my HD to a taller one and have that set almost as tall as it'll go because of how short that HD is. This one here, I had the legs, they're pretty much almost all the way down to the bottom, and it's comparatively very close to the same height as that one with the, I believe they were Sega legs. Is that what it was on there? So those definitely are a lot taller legs than the ones that they come with. So overall, this is a taller machine. It does sit a lot more comfortably whenever I am playing compared to the Atgames Legends Pinball that I had before. No replacement legs needed for this one. It's definitely going to be tall enough for the majority of people. Okay, so let's go over the menu itself, go over how I feel about owning one of these, as well as some pros and cons of the system itself and the gameplay. Okay, so let's get into the menu system itself when it comes to this machine. A lot of people love this menu, and if you love it, awesome. I think it's great for you. I do think it does help if you know what tables that you want to do or where you're needing to go. It definitely is a benefit, to people in that scenario. I find it a little confusing, and I almost miss the old system. Not because of the it does take away the glitchiness. I know that the old table, if sometimes you were trying to click a certain table, if you pressed over on the D-pad, it would kind of like do a double and you had to like kind of go back. And it was this whole issue. I will say the D-pad is 1,000 times better than the old D-pad. That whole thing was horrific. This is way better at choosing things and being able to select what you need. So this is my kind of little bit of a, not really a complaint, just something that I have to get used to, but something that I did not like about the table. So let's say that I need to go to a certain setting for something I want to change. I have to go to the settings, which is here, which is not bad, but then it's like, okay, how do I find my settings? Like I want to change the haptics. Okay, so I would have to, let me switch hands here. I could either press the left trigger and try to find haptics, which I'd have to know that's what they're called, haptic feedback right there, and then it goes to haptic feedback. The issue I've been having is that the automatic transferring of things gets confusing, so I'm trying to read, haptics, HDMI settings, oh, we're here. Click it again. Okay, HDMI settings, health check. Okay, nope, we're back to haptic. I'm not touching anything. It just automatically, boom, right to whatever you're on. Doesn't really give you any time to choose anything. You have to know what you're going to choose or be constantly touching the buttons in order for it not to just automatically go to something. So even if I hold it, it goes right to it. And it'll flash back and forth if I'm holding on to it. So if I want to go to HDMI settings or something, if I leave it even for a second, it just automatically goes to that. So there's been times where it's been a little frustrating. I'm trying to find something, and then my only options of being is doing this and trying to find what I'm looking for. Now the old way was you had all of these tiles, So you saw everything or the majority of things, and you can kind of look and say, oh, okay, that's what I need, and I could just go over there and find it. It's the same thing with the pinballs. If I go to my all pinball tables, so the new system, again, great. It looks amazing. You can go through and kind of see your tables, but again, if you're looking for a specific table, you have to know the name of it, and you have to be quick about getting to it. I'm sure there's settings in here too to change this so it's not so fast. But what I don't like either is that, on my old table, I get these packs that have 5 or 6 different tables in them, or four tables in them, whatever it is. And so I buy it for one table maybe, and there's like 1 or 2 other ones that I don't really care or didn't know about. So whenever I was looking at tiles and things, I'd be in the main menu looking for something else, and I'd see the tile there, and I'd be like, oh, hey, like, that looks interesting. Let me try this pinball. And it'd lead me to want to try that. This way, it's kind of like you either need to know the table that you already want to play and then go play that one, or you're scrolling, like I said before, you're doing this. And you're looking at every single table, which kind of gets monotonous after a while with it. So it to me might just be me trying to figure out how this menu's supposed to work. And but from someone who's never experienced it, who had the old system, that's the one flaw. You can change it so you can see the tiles, and which I may go back to that because there's just things that I just don't see sometimes, and until I see it visually, I'm like I totally ignore tables on it. So that was my main, like, I wish they could have done something a little different. I don't know exactly how they could have done it, but having to do, especially too, let's say that you're like, oh, I played Pool Champion, but I don't remember what it was called. I'm like, okay, there's something with pinball or with pool. I'm either going to have to find the name, and hopefully it's called pool. How about this one? Is it Rastan Saga? Okay, let's say I love this table, but I forget the name of it. So what do? I have to literally just sit here and do this until I get to what it looks like. So it's good. I'm not trying to dog on the menu. A lot of people love the new menu, but for me, that's just an issue. I hate having to sit there and search through one at a time, each table to find something, or each setting to find something. I just don't like that. And then my last gripe. This is my last gripe. Pinball Net. I got that a couple months for free, and I was excited about it. I was like, okay, I got 6 months worth. I can go on there and just play everything that's coming out, and I have all these tables, and I was excited. But it was deflated pretty quickly. The reason for that is that it doesn't have any of the cat and hats or any of the Zen tables on the Pinball Net. So if you buy this, $20 a month is what it's going to cost you, and you don't even get some of the better tables that are on here. It's mostly the Zachariah tables and things like that. And again, because of this system, especially with Pinball Net, they're supposed to be adding more pinball tables into it and changing things around constantly. So to find a new pinball table that you may not know about, you're going to have to sit here and scroll unless you change it to the tile. So for Pinball Net especially, it's just weird to have this menu for me. I'm sorry, like I keep dogging on it, but it's like this just doesn't make sense for this category of things, especially Pinball Net, because these are supposed to be pinballs that you don't have, that you're kind of trying out, and you just want access to everything. So you have such a big amount of variety. Like, why wouldn't you have a menu you could see more pinballs easily? That's just me again. But not having the Zen tables on here, not having the Cat in the Hat tables on here, I know it's probably a licensing issue, but for $20 a month, that's how much it costs for Xbox. Xbox is, you're getting AAA games on there. So someone might look at that and say, why would I pay money for these whenever I can just buy them. They're some of the cheapest packs, and just put them on my table. So as far as the Pinball Net, in my mind, don't buy it. It's not worth it. Just buy packs of stuff you like. Even if you want to try something that's different, that you're like, hey, I want to just see if I like these tables. It's more worth it for you just to buy the pack than it is to buy this buy this Pinball Net and try stuff out. Unless you're planning on just spending $20 and trying everything out, just so you can figure out what you want to purchase outside of the Zen tables and the Cat in the Hat. That's the only reason why I could think that it's a good idea to have this. If it might save you the $20 if you end up hating the tables that came. But in general, I'm not a fan of the Pinball Net at all. Like yeah. Also too, if you haven't noticed, what you can turn this down. I'm trying to figure that out in this menu. But the topper is great. Love it. Looks amazing. But there is quite a reflection, especially with Snoopy, on the screen. You can see it right now. So let's go to all the tables. Actually, I think it's one of my favorites. No, it's not. So I have to go back here to my pinballs. Okay, and then I have to hit this. And then I have to try and get over to Twilight. That's what I'm trying to show. And it's not underneath Twilight. The Twilight Zone. I don't know why that wasn't there. You guys just saw that. But you can tell right now, if I don't turn that down, half of the playfield is just donezo. Like, I can't see whenever I'm playing. I see Snoopy, and the ball is just kind of gone once it gets to, about here. It's just gone. So I will have to learn how to turn that down. I'm trying to search the menu to figure it out. Okay, those are all the negative things. Those are the only beefs that I have with the table itself and me getting used to it. I do like, too, you can input your information and buy stuff, or buy tables right off of the table itself, or, off of the machine itself. You're not having to go through and get all those codes if you don't want to. I have not had to sign in on this machine, which is great. The old one, every time that I would log out, log back in, or turn it off, turn it back on, I had to log in, and it was just terrible. I hated that. And then again too, if I'm like, hey, I want to try this pinball that I just found, I just click a button and say, yep, go ahead and charge me, and then boom, I have it. So that is really, really cool. So here I am in the settings mode. I actually had figured out how to get the topper to either be less bright or off, which is not in the settings at all, but instead there's actually a button back here. Let me show you that real quick. So this right back here is where you can either turn it off or dim the topper. Unfortunately, what I found out is that the topper was set to the lowest dimness. So even with being able to adjust this now, it doesn't really help. That topper really does reflect badly on some of the tables. You can adjust the brightness though, so that may help in the end, being able to brighten that table up a little bit so I'm able to see past the topper, or just leave the topper off in general if I am wanting to play and that's just getting in the way. So unfortunately, even with the screen turned up all the way, you can see it's Snoopy dimmed as much as it'll dim. It only has a bright and a dim. That's all it has. You can still see it's kind of an issue here. Unfortunately, if I go back to my pinball, let's hit back. And let's go back to my pinball, and let's go to Twilight Zone. See, it's just so bright right there in the middle of my table. So as you can see, still super bright. The turn of the brightness did help some. And it is more playable than what it was, but it's still kind of concerning that, some of these tables might just be a little bit too dark. I'm going to play on it for a little bit. I can show you too how it looks once it's off, so you can kind of tell the difference on that. So here are the three settings. We are dimmed right now. That's a little bit brighter, and then off. So that's how it looks off. And then now you see there's really no reflection. That really is concerning. Obviously the back box I can turn down a little bit, so that's not there either, but that I can actually see through that. It's worse on the camera than it is actually in real life there, but yeah, it's pretty, that's kind of disappointing. I'm gonna have to turn that off if I'm playing certain tables, especially with how I'm gonna have to position this now, because I can't really stack it, but it up next to another pinball, because I'm gonna have to worry, or another machine, because I'm gonna have to worry about getting back there to turn that on or off, or just leaving it off all the time. So this here is the main event on why this table is totally worth it. The playing on this thing is absolutely amazing. The SSF kit makes it all worth the while whenever you get to play this and you feel so many different things happening all at once. The subwoofer going, you feel the ball rolling down the play field, and feeling those flippers, the haptic feedback. It is just an amazing experience, and what made me fall in love with getting one of these. I'll let you enjoy some of the gameplay here, and hopefully you're able to hear a little bit of what I'm saying, but it's truly something you have to experience for yourself.
Everyone has to eat bones. Lock the ball! Multiplayer raised. Use the Snoopy's doghouse to start a main boat. Pinches in what head? It's not fair! Good night, old pal. See you in the morning.
One other thing I did want to make sure that I highlighted about this machine that I really truly enjoy is its ease of use. This is a machine you can come up to if you have 5 minutes and flip on the machine and just start playing something. I know with the HD as well as with some of these 4Ks, people hooked up PCs. I'm not comparing this to a PC, but there's a little give and take. This obviously is going to run as well or look as great as someone who has hooked up a PC to it, but I do think that there's a compromise in the ease of use. I'm not someone who likes to take the time to have a PC hooked up, do all that maintenance, having to, whenever I come down here and worry about updating things, filling in with things, I don't have to do any of that. I just come downstairs, turn it on, and I'm good to go. I do have PC on some of my arcades down here in the Boilercade, and whenever I do go to get on them, it's always at least a 20-minute process of updating things, trying to remap buttons, trying to figure out why it's acting kind of wonky, and then I eventually get to play something. With this, you don't have to worry about that. You just come in during my lunch break even. I only have an hour, and sometimes I'll come down here, flip it on, play for 10 or 20 minutes, and then flip it back off. And again, that's whatever you prefer to do personally. If you're someone who doesn't mind the work and the effort that takes to put a PC onto this, then by all means do that. But I do think one great feature is just how easy this is, and how a lot of people who don't want to mess with that stuff can still have a pinball that looks and plays pretty well. So that leads to the final question. Should you go out and purchase one of these right away? Am I shilling for this and telling you that you have to have this in your home arcade and you need to go out and get it right now? Absolutely not. It's totally up to you and what your status as far as wanting to buy a V-Pin is. For me personally, I think it's a great machine. I think it runs great. I think that it's definitely appealing. It's something that draws people into it. So I think that for me personally, this is a great machine. It is costly. This is not an arcade one-up that's $300 or $400. This is a $2,000 purchase if you get everything with it. So it's definitely something that I would want you to sit down and really think about whether or not you want to do this. If you're someone who just wants to purchase something, not worry about anything and get it, I think it's a great purchase. But I also don't want you to go out and get FOMO for it either. Overall, I give this machine, I'd say probably 7 to 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. I think that it is something that's really going to pop in my arcade, something I'm going to continue to play, and that score may go up and that score may go down. It just depends on what Atgames does with it. So thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't yet, and keep on playing, gamers. Keep on playing.
Step right in, the lights they gleam, arcade dreams in neon streams, Galaga's blast, a pixel dance, boiler room in a joyous trance. Take my coins, I yearn to spend them too.